Program is about the dissolvement of the board of the Napb and the installment of the new board of the Napb. But before I start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ricardo Henson, and I will be your master of ceremony this afternoon. And it's for me an honor to do that. As we move forward, I would like to definitely acknowledge the presence of our Minister of Justice, Mr. Cornelius de Weaver. And we would also want to acknowledge the presence of our Chief of Police, Mr. Kyle John. And we would also like to acknowledge anyone that is representing the ABFO this afternoon. You're welcome. Representing the WICSU. And PSU is Ms. Sophia Peterson Rishmay. Representing the WIFOL, Mr. Thompson. St. Martin Communication Union, Mr. Ritzel Everts. I saw him a while ago, so I'm sure he'll be in the audience. Representing the NRPB, Ms. Janine Peterson. She has will not be here today and should be represented by Ms. Janice Phillips, who will be doing the honors for her. We also want to acknowledge the presence of the Vice President of the KOR, Ms. Prudence Hodge, and we want to welcome also all other guests and colleagues that are present here today. As we start the program, I would want to call forward a young man by the name of Javier Marlin, who will be singing the St. Martin song. So Javier Marlin, please come forward. And can everyone stand as Javier sing our St. Martin song?
Where over the worlds and where you'll find an island there, so lovely small, with nations free, with people French and Dutch, no talking English much, as the St. Martin in the sea. Oh, sweet St. Martin's land, so bright by beach and strand, with sailors on the sea and harbors free, where the chains of mountains green fearlessly in sunlight sheen. Oh, I love thy paradise, nature's beauty fairly nice. Oh, I love thy paradise, nature's beauty fairly nice. St. Martin, I love thy name, in which Columbus' fame our memories of all I go, for we are great delight, thy soul across the night. May God the Lord protect thy cause, oh sweet St. Martin's land, so bright by beach and strand, with sailors on the sea and harbors free, where the chains of mountains green fearlessly as sunlight sheen. Oh, I love thy paradise, nature's beauty fairly nice. Oh, I love thy paradise, nature's beauty fairly nice.
I would like to ask you to remain standing for a minute As as part of the ceremony, we would request or we would like to have a moment of silence in honor of Chief Inspector Quinton Rogers, who has always been a loyal member of the Napb. So we want to give him a moment of silence in his honor. And I would like to call forward Miss Belinda Bryson, who will say a few words of prayer.
Father, as we are gathered here today to witness the swearing in of the Napb Board and Congress, we ask you to cover them. Give them the knowledge, strength, and wisdom. God, give them the strength to do all that you have set before them. Thank you for always being with us. Because of you, we are strong and can do all things. Loving God, may our words and actions reflect your great love today and always. Amen. You may be seated.
As we move on with the program for today, I would like to your attention for the following, in which we will present to you a short video clip of a ceremony during which Mrs. Patricia Heiliger, the first black female police officer to attain the rank of captain in the New Haven Police Force in Connecticut, USA. And Captain Heiliger is, of course, the aunt of Miss Janice Phillips. And Miss Heiliger is the daughter of Mr. Jean Brooks, also known as Tata, the bus driver.
I stand before you today with God's grace and mercy, giving almighty praise to him. Yes. Today I rise as Captain Patricia Heiliger, the first black woman captain. On the occasion of Black History Month, today marks an historical moment for my beloved community, my police family, and myself. As the first black woman in history of the New Haven Police Department to be named captain, beyond this humble honor, I react with joy, but also with a sense of awkwardness that it would take until now for this appointment to happen. However, this timing is not owned by me or even all of us in this atrium. This appointment and anointed timing is God's. I want to acknowledge the queens who reign the throne of my life. My mother, Frances. My grandmother, Juliet. And aunts who raised me with the self-determination to follow God's code before any police code. They taught me to embody an ethical code of conduct that stands true even when no one is looking. I give my heartfelt appreciation for my beloved community. The men and women who have stood by me, raising me up like the village and being there for me in good and not so good times. There is no way I could stand before you and not remember my humble roots from the island of St. Martin and my first love of service to help people in need. There is a saying in St. Martin that says, "My Lord God is high, but he sees low." It is his seeing low that has raised me up. I thank Chief Dean Esmond for bestowing this formal appointment upon me today. By being the first, it's lonely. However, by being the first, I am encouraged that this gender and color line broken today will pave the way for more women who look like me and follow me with meaning and true duty. In 1867, the first black police officer hired in the nation was a man from Selma, Alabama. 2 years after the Civil War and the end of slavery. It was not until 1916 that the first black woman officer by the name of Georgia Ann Robinson was hired by LAPD 4 years before women exercised their right to vote for the first time. Standing on her shoulder and on the black women police officers that followed before me, first commissioners, chiefs, and even captains, all had the challenge for balancing their primary duty to protect and serve. Standing in your presence is an example for what our children and young people can become. If we believe that we can achieve, there is no greater human validation than being able to validate yourself in the face of adversity around you. I adamantly believe and represent this little girl who went into her teens not knowing what her future would bring, but had a family who stood with me and loved me through my trials and errors to where I am today. I know this position as captain will not be easy. It does not need to be what it really means today. For today, I am in the eye of the storm. What today simply means is that we are a nation of one people who recognize that good always wins in the end. I leave you with a quote by the great Sojourner Truth in 1852, during the slavery, traveled to Akron, Ohio, and spoke. For those in the atrium who can relate, this will have true meaning. And ain't I a woman? That little man in black there say a woman can't have as much rights as a man because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Men had nothing to do with him. If the first woman God ever had made was strong enough to turn the world upside down alone, together women ought to be able to turn it right side up again. Thank you. God bless this beloved community, the New Haven Police Department, and the great state of Connecticut.
Wow, that's a beautiful speech. That's a really beautiful speech. As I said earlier, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Janine Peterson would not be able to make it today, and she would be represented by Miss Janice Phillips. And for that, I would like to call Janice Phillips forward, and I would read for you, ladies and gentlemen, a speech that Miss Peterson has written for me. It says, "Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Protocol have been observed. It is with great honor and gratitude that I stand here today to hand over this baton of presidency to my colleague, Mr. Rogerel Eugenio Mauricia, who will lead the NAPB Police Union for the next 3 years as president. It has been a great honor and satisfaction that I have served as the first woman president of the NAPB. While I was happy to serve as your leader, the past 3 years was not easy for my board and I. I took over the position with many challenges and long lists of things that needed to be put in place for the membership of the union. The membership of the union has ignored for many years, the membership of the union was ignored for many years, and there was many benefits that were due to the membership that were being denied and delayed. Thanks to the hard work of my board and our supporters, we were able to successfully bring a number of positive benefits for the union's membership over the past 3 years. This includes making sure that the police got their insurance package, an accomplishment that the NAPB board is very proud of. The board was also able to ensure that the administrative workers got their salary scales as that of the police. And last but not least, we were able to successfully push for the finalization of the rechtspositie, the function book, and the salary scales. They were long overdue. I would like to thank the membership for putting their confidence in me to be your union president. I would also like to thank the Napb board for their hard work and dedication to making sure that we work in the best interests of the police force. Thanks also to my family, to the police management, and to all union partners who have worked within the past to make things happen for the police force of St. Martin. I thank you. I would like to wish the incoming president, board, and Congress much success as they continue to fight for what is right for the men and women in blue in this country. Much success to you all. I thank you. I would also like to call forward Mr. Mauricia, Roger L. Mauricia, as Ms. Phillips will hand him a plaque from Ms. Janine Peterson, the outgoing president, and the plaque reads as follows: NAPB, Board and Congress. Hereby would like to thank you for your achievement, passion, and dedication. You have served us as our first female president, Ms. Janine Peterson, president of the year 2015 to 2018. If you come a little closer. Yes. Yep. All right. The swearing in of Mr. Mauricia will take place immediately, and the oath is written in Dutch, and it is as follows. It says, it's akte van eed aflegging. And it says, heden donderdag 9 augustus 2018, in aanwezigheid van de congres zweer, of beloof ik, het lid van het bestuur, de heer Rogerel Eugenio Mauricia, conform artikel 28 van het huishoudelijke reglement van de Nationale Algemene Politiebond, in gevolge zijn geloof als volgt. Ik zweer, ik beloof, dat ik de taak aanvaard welke mij vrijwillig heb voorgenomen tot volbrengen, en dat de collega's geloof en aanhechten dat ik deze met volstrekte toewijding zal uitoefenen. Ik zal alle krachten geven deze taak op waardige, integere en effectieve wijze uit te oefenen. Ik zweer, ik beloof dat ik mijn taak als lid van het bestuur van de vakbond in het kader van statuten, huishoudelijke reglement en reglement van orde en overige regels welke geldig voor onze vakbond met het enige voornemen op de wijze aanzien te geven en dat deze een waardevolle toevoeging aan onze vakbondorganisatie mogen zijn. Dat ik persoonlijk geen enkele aanbieding, geschenk en of andere profijten zal accepteren van derden welke mijn functioneren kan vervlekken of negatieve gevolgen kunnen hebben ten aanzien van mijn functioneren als lid van het bestuur. Ik zweer, ik beloof dat ik geen vertrouwelijke informatie van de interne leiding en bedrijfsvoering van de organisatie en of informatie over aangelegenheden welke de leden aangaan aan derden zal verspreiden, welke tot mijn kennis zullen komen in het kader van mijn vakbondstaak. Dat God almachtig mij mogen helpen, opdat ik hetgeen welke ik onder ede heb gezworen of beloofd, zal volbrengen. All right. Congratulations, Mr. Mauricia. You are officially appointed to the new president of the NAPB.
As Vice President from the Napb has been chosen Mr. Marcus Pantoflet. As Penning Meester Treasurer of the Napb was chosen Ms. Janice Phillips. As Secretary from Napb has been chosen Mr. Rachel Dorang. The last member to be chosen will be the Assistant Secretary. And for this position have been chosen Ms. Belinda Bryson. Our members of Congress, Mr. Boyrat, Mr. Avery, and Ms. Janine Peterson, that is not here today. Those are our Congress members from the NAPB.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mauricia and Ms. Rumbley. I would want to call back the new president of the union, Mr. Mauricia, to come forward, as we would like to present to the family of Mr. Quinton Rogers a plaque in his honor, remembering him as a very loyal, what you call member of the NPB. Mr. Rogers and Mr. Rogers, please come forward. And the plaque reads as follows. It's a plaque from the NAPB, and it says, "Our debt to the heroic men and valiant women in the service of our country can never be repaid. They have earned our undying gratitude. NAPB St. Martin, we will never forget his sacrifice. Your loves remain with us in loving memory of Inspector of Police Quinton G. Rogers."
Good afternoon. This means a whole lot. Today is actually 2 days shy of a month of his passing, July 11th. And I must tell you that that day actually is pretty much very clear on my, my Netflix. I can remember it was in the morning very early. I got to my office, and the first thing I always do is have a cup of coffee and speak to my business partner. And there's when the first call came from my aunt. And she spoke to me in the most panicking voice ever since I ever knew her, and since I ever knew myself, actually. And the only thing she could have said is, "Where are you? Where are you? Your father shows no sign of life." And she repeated that 3 times. And she said, "Go." And she repeated that again 3 times. So I went, of course. I got into my car, took a breath, and drove up to where he was. And I thought on my way, well, let me give my uncle a call. And that conversation was not any much better, because actually I didn't even hear what he had to say, because he was basically crying and saying, "Pops is gone." And then I knew, well, okay, I would have to actually call home and give the bad news too. And there's no good way of giving bad news. So I had to call my mom and my brother. And the best way to do that is doing it right away, because with social media, you don't want to have my brother, who is actually a social media freak, I always call him, that he would actually be reading that online. So that news had to be delivered as soon as possible. And right then I knew also I had to step up to the plate and be there for my mom and my brother. And I must say that I also had, of course, the support of the rest of the family, and especially this big guy here, who always tried to rule me. but I must say I love him to death as well, and he has been one of our biggest supporters as well. And yeah, I must say that we had to prepare his farewell ceremony, and there was no better team to assist with than the project team of the KPSM, under the leadership of Mr. Henson, and of course we had Carl John as well. It was a very, very good farewell, and I must say express my gratitude on behalf of my mom and also my brother, and of course my aunts, uncles, and cousins. It was really fantastic. he was basically bid a great farewell with honor. And there's nothing more I can say. Thanks for that. And even after the farewell, basically the caring and also the the assistance that was provided thereafter was pretty good. Yeah, and I every day on a daily basis, not on a daily basis, but I have a lot of contacts still with Belinda. Belinda, thank you so much for the work that you've carried out. And I would like to thank the CAPISN as much as possible for all the work that you've done. The men and women of this union as well, forming part of the CAPISN, thank you so much. And your help, your assistance is definitely much appreciated. Thank you very much. I know he liked the Napb being part of a union. He likes being part of any entity that actually signifies togetherness. And with that, I also want to actually wish you, Mr. Mauricio, and your group, your board, much success this year. I don't know how long you're elected for, 3 years. A lot of luck in fighting for not only, of course, your board, but also for the CAPISM in general, and also the rights of the men and women of blue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jason. Thank you very much. Mr. Rogers, I want to thank you on behalf of the KPSM for those kind words. And I would now like to call forward our Minister of Justice, Mr. Cornelius de Wever, who would say a few words to you.
I'd like to actually begin by, first of all, thanking the old board, Ms. Janine Peterson and her board, as well as the Congress, because in the last 6 months, we've been able to do a whole lot of work when it comes to the exposites. And there was even a group chat that we have to make sure that whatever was happening with the team, as far as Migdala, Claudinda is concerned, as well as Eunicio and the rest of them, whatever was happening, that the entire group knew exactly the progress we were making. And it's still very active today, so I want to thank them for that contribution, because without it, it would not have happened. And the work that they've done, I really appreciate. You know, last night I met Mr. Thompson at Holland House, and being the previous Minister of Labor, him and I had a lot of discussions, debates, and I told him last night, I said, I missed the fight. And it's not a physical fight or anything like that, but just the challenging of each other and the negotiations that need to happen behind the scenes. And I know this new board will have to pick up that part of it, and I look forward to that. So I say congratulations to Mr. Mauricio, your board, and your Congress. I look forward to working again with you. I'm sure that you will be part of the group chat. I'm sure they'll probably try to keep Janine in as well, because she is part of your Congress, and you will continue contributing to making sure that we finalize that exposites. The swearing in, of course, of a new board is always a wonderful experience. Having been sworn in a couple of times myself, I know the feeling, I know the proud moment, but I also know the work that lies beyond today. And that is the most important work that you'll have to do in those 3 years. And I commend you for taking up the task and the baton to do that. And I look forward to working with you. I want to also thank you all for the inspiring video of Captain Patricia Heiliger. I think it sends a very clear message that we can achieve many things, and we should, and let us not stop for one moment. The presence of the other unions, the PSU, WIFO, Sebastian Telecommunications Union, Napb, KOR, I want to again look forward to continue working with you all as well, because this work doesn't end, you know, and every time we achieve something or we think we achieve something, there's always another obstacle. And I can tell you, even when we are busy with our exposites, you know, we even hired a consulting company to come in and assist us with the HR assessment. We also asked them to come back on again to finalize, because it had to go through each officer, each position, and it's a lot of work. I know it's been 8 years since 2010. I know the start wasn't right either, but it's how we finish, and I think that's the most important thing. And I look forward to, again, working with you. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Heden, donderdag 9 augustus 2018, in aanwezigheid van het congres, beloven wij van het bestuur, conform artikel 28 lid 2 van het huishoudelijke reglement van de Nationale Algemene Politiebond, in gevolge zijn geloof als volgt, zijn of haar geloof als volgt. Ik zweer, ik beloof dat ik de taak aanvaard welke ik mij vrijwillig heb voorgenomen te volbrengen en dat mijn collega's geloof aanhechten dat ik deze met volstrekte toewijding zal uitoefenen. Ik zal alle krachten geven deze taak op waardige, integere en effectieve wijze uit te oefenen. Ik zweer, ik beloof dat ik mijn taak als lid van het bestuur van de vakbond in het kader van de statuten, huishoudelijke reglement en de reglement van orde en overige regels welke gelden voor onze vakbond met het enige voornemen op de wijze aanzien te geven en dat deze aan waardevolle toevoeging aan deze vakbondorganisatie mogen zijn. Dat ik persoonlijk geen enkele aanbieding, geschenk en of andere profijten zal accepteren van derden welke mijn functioneren kunnen vervlekken of negatieve gevolgen kunnen hebben ten aanzien van mijn functioneren als lid van het bestuur. Ik zweer, ik beloof dat ik geen vertrouwelijke informatie van de interne leiding en bedrijfsvoering van de organisatie en of informatie over aangelegenheden welke de leden aangaan aan derden zal verspreiden welke tot mijn kennis kunnen komen in het kader van mijn vakbondstaak. Dat God Almachtig mij mogen helpen, opdat ik al hetgeen welke onder ede heb gezworen of beloof zal volbrengen. Thank you very much. Congratulations, members of the NAPB new board.
For me, it's, I want to call it an honor being here. And maybe in my further address, I will explain why I'm saying that. To start with, I want to indeed, like the minister say, congratulate the outgoing board, and most of all also congratulate and wish much strength to the incoming president and his board. I myself was very, very active in unionism in 2010. And most of the time when I stand in front here and I speak about unions, I have to look in the direction of Mr. Kalai Rogers, because then we was from Napb, Curacao, we was Congress members in St. Martin, and had to sit with a whole group of strategic people from Rotterdam, Rijnmond, who came to speak to us about the new structure of the police force. And I must say, young in the field, we had to deal at that level to at least at 10-10-10 had a structure. And it wasn't an easy task. For that also, I want to ask all boards who actually take this task, look very much in the direction of Mr. Kalai Rogers, because the depth of information that he have about how this process started for St. Martin as a country with a new police force, he have a lot of that information with him. Naturally, you can always approach me also. I'm always willing. Speaking about unionism, and maybe I should give a little bit of my vision why I think about unionism. In those days, we came into unions where there was a lot of, I want to call them old thinkers, and very strategic, but most of the time it really went about a fight. The only way then was used to be able to achieve in unions was to have a fight, have a strike, have a walkout, etc. And the fact that I'm here today speaking as department head shows very much how much our unions has evolved. And that makes me emotional. Now we speak to each other, or the intention should be that we can speak to each other as strategic partners, not only looking at what's not right, what do we have to get or achieve as members of a union, but looking also at the solution. And it's far. It's not only looking at solutions for your members, but right now, to be honest, and moreover, because of Irma, we have to look at what we should achieve for the whole country of St. Martin. And that puts a very heavy task on you, Mr. President. And believe me, it's going to get lonely. Looking at you, Mauricia, and your board, I want to ask that you deal with your union and maybe look at the other union leaders inside here. Let's deal with it exactly the way I said, as a strategic partner. And the minister emphasized on how much you can achieve by talking to each other, understanding each other. And when I speak about that, I want to go back to the achievements of insurance for your members, the achievements of having the right structure in place, not even the fact of getting maybe paid better, but the right structure in place so you can be more effective and efficient in what you do as a member. And that brings you down to a next task that will be bigger, is to be an educator to your members. Most of our members really think that they're in a union because that union can fight for money, that union can fight for different other tangible things. And maybe that's one of your important tasks, to make sure that your members are well taken care of. But I also find a task is that you have to be an educator to your members. And it will also motivate them if they understand that part of your job. Not only thinking that they can come to you and we're going to, like before, organize a strike, walk out, and have a big thing going in the newspaper, which, if I look at it from a country perspective, says a lot about how we communicate with each other. So educating your members will mean that sometime you'll have to give bad news, or you'll have to give news that will say, it takes 8 years to get this done. But like the minister finalized and said, maybe it's not how it starts, and maybe it's not how long it takes us to get there, but that we get there. And that we get there together as one. Because in this organization that we have to build for country St. Martin, and not for the management team, not for the minister, and not for you as a board, but for the country St. Martin, we have to work together. Again, I congratulate you, wish you much success, and know that we, me, the management team of the police force, we aim to be able to do this good in the sense of we are not saying anything different, that we need you to do this with us as the strategic partner and the professionals that you are. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It seemed like the first two speeches, with my speech, I believe we already start in a good way. Because majority of my speech is what the minister said, and it's what Minister John also finished said. And it reads like this. I am Rogerio Eugenio Mauricio, very pleased to announce that I'm grateful and thankful with my position as president of the Napb St. Martin. I quote, "A new dawn has arisen to leverage the power of truth and reconciliation, looking at the past to build a sustainable future." Many years we have made public commitment. As many of you know, we win some, we lose some of those commitments. As a new leader of this new board, I have to dedicate all my power as of today to lay the groundwork for a genuine change in the way we do or handle business. Under my leadership, I realized that to do what is right, we first have to publicly admit to you what was wrong. So today, we're proud to say nothing is hard to fix, as also the lady in the video said, God is high, he sees low. In the next coming days, my task is to complete what is due and undergo an extensive review of our past operation to analyze all pending issues. And today, I'm proud to say that Napb make a symbolic start to say to the members, we are sorry. We are sorry for the lack of communication between Napb board and yourself. We are sorry that the fact that you, and it's no secret, that you had lost interest in your union. And as a new leader, I turn my inspiration for the recent devastation, monster storm Irma, as platform and perfect example of a new beginning. Hurricane Irma brought our nation to its knees, and we all have to stand up strong and face this enormous amount of challenges as people, as government, as a family, organization, as individual. In essence, the question was, how did you respond to your call? And what was your first response? Did you face these challenges with fear? Did you face them with anger? Did you face them with distrust? Or did you just not have faith? I believe that any challenge with such great magnitude as this could have only been mitigated with two vital key components, which is leadership and guidance. This leadership have to be applied in every aspect in which best decision orders strategically restore peace and stability in our friendly island, St. Martin, a place everyone can call home. The idea held by a generation of citizens who believe St. Martin is constantly working in progress, who believe that loving this country requires more than singing its phrase or avoiding uncomfortable truth. It requires occasional disruption. The willingness to speak up, exercise for what is right, shake up the status quo a little bit. This should be the St. Martin that we all call home. Now it's not the time to be great enemy. Now is the time for us to unite and come together as one accord. Now is the time to fix many challenges we are facing. When I made my decision to humbly submit my person to run as president of this highly esteemed organization, which is the Napb, I also made up my mind that I would like to hit the ground running. And I quote, "In the end, we'll remember not the words of enemies, but the silence of our friends."